What is up? What is up? Get you some. So, as always, I'm working in Roswell, right down the street. If you know my stories, you know I had this drug dealer, and I left his house 2 days in a row. It's right here. I can't give any more detail, and nor do I want to drive. We're one street over from his house, but like I said, I quit fucking with him because he was so hot that I got pulled over 2 days in a row leaving his house. So, and here's the gas station right across the street. Right here to the right is where I was in there shooting up, and there's no lock on the door, and this guy opens the fucking door. I'm beyond humiliated. I'm beyond paranoid. I'm schizophrenic, okay? I go to do my thing, try to do it quick. The guy opens the door back up for the second time and staring at me. I'm bugging out, you know. Dude's watching me fucking sitting there doing it. So he fucked me up, so I had to go run off, you know. Like I said, I'm right across the street from my old drug dealer's house. So, and he's in the story, okay? So it's older black guys, call him L. Fuck it, we call his name, don't even matter. His name was Larry, this 67-year-old black guy, right? So as I discussed, I lived in a hotel, and when I was there, I met this couple, this bald-headed guy, done drugs, and his girlfriend Tilly, and Tilly worked at Waffle House. So, of course, just like anyone who works at Waffle House can know where all the drugs are. So, like I said, I got dumped out here in Roswell. It's just where I happened to be, coincidentally, where I was working, where I feel God put me, all kind of shit. So we're like where I used to live before I lived here. I couldn't get away with this shit I was able to do here, so I was definitely put here for reasons. Where I live in Cobb County, they don't have buses like they do out here. Out here, you can I get on a bus and go to work. I get on a bus, go community service. I go to the bus, and there's a place right up here. I had to do anger management class, parenting classes, and the parenting class that I was in was full of black girls, right? 14 black girls and just 14 black ladies and just white honky-tonk Mike. That was crazy. So it was just me and these black women for many months. I went there, and anyway, so when I lived at the hotel, I met this couple, this bald-headed guy. I can't remember his name, but I can remember the girl's name was Tilly. Bald-headed guy, he was a party animal, drank, spent all his money on drugs. He didn't really work a whole lot. He fell in a wet spot at Publix and sued him and got a check, got a settlement. It was like 12 or 16 grand he had got from slipping and falling at Publix. So he went ape shit on the drugs with it. Of course, he was one of these guys that follows the dead, and there's another thing that's like the dead people follow. I don't know if it'll come to me, but a popular band, I can't think of it at the moment, the name of it, but he used to follow them around. They're like, you know, the Grateful Dead for the next generation. And like I said, I can't think of it. So they played right up the street, coincidentally, during those days, right over there by where this other job is. I'm on another job right now, but the bigger job, right over there, right next to it, this band played there, and I remember taking and dropping him off one day. He didn't drive, all that kind of shit. She didn't drive, they didn't have a car, and they take the bus to do everything, and she worked at Waffle House. So she knew Larry, so she hooked me up with this 72-year-old black guy, and the first time we hook up, I'm in the parking lot, and I'm talking to them, and tells me, wow, you should have seen, he had this huge bag of eggs, right? He said he had, Roxy's. He said he had a full bag of Roxy's. I said, damn, so they became my new drug dealers. But before then, when I had just gotten out of jail, right? And for 2 years I couldn't do shit. I smoked that fake shit that you get at the head shop, and that's basically all I did. Towards the end of the 2 years, I started to fucking with pills. My buddy Mike Adams that died was my pill guy, and before him was Raymond. Or no, after him. Was it? Had he died? Yeah, after Mike died, Raymond, okay? So, this is the second time I was in jail, L-Pod, and I meet this guy Raymond, right? And I meet this guy, and I'll admit it, I was reading the Bible, was heavy in the Bible, heavy into God. You know, I was scared for my life. I'm not too proud to admit it. I was scared shitless. I was pretty damn certain I was going to do 5 to 10 years in prison. And so I met Raymond, and Raymond was a real religious guy. He gave every breakfast tray away, right? Like, he fasted the first couple of days there. Like, he was giving food away, I remember. And you could tell he had been big into Bible, going to church. But on the same note, he's another ADD guy gone wild. So Raymond, come to find out, all I know of him is he's fasting, and he's in every Bible study in the jail. We're in the jail together. Like I said, he's giving his morning trays away every day. Very quiet, but we hit it off, right? So we get to talking, etc. And he's not there too long, maybe a couple of months, maybe a month or two, and he bonds out, right? So he writes me, okay? Another one of these kind of deal. So Raymond writes me, and I thought that was rather neat and cool, right? So I get out of jail, and fast forward a year down the road. Mike just dies. I bump into Raymond at the pawn shop, right? Coincidentally, and I'm not big on pawn shops, so another one of these pretty far out there coincidences. I just happened to be, me and my wife were doing something, and wasn't even drug related, looking to buy something. So I bump into Raymond, we start kicking it again, and come to find out, Raymond's another one of these pill guys, run-of-your-mill pill mill guys. Raymond's one of these guys that knows the system inside and out, plays the system, has had disability from day one, gets a check, knows and does and goes and gets all the kind of information to go to doctors and be able to get Roxy's and all these drugs, right? Raymond was hip to the stick, hip to the cause from day one, and come to find out he had always been like this, had always done this. So I bump into Raymond, and we don't say much, and I'm in my car, and then some time goes by, and there was a couple of different times that I was without a vehicle. I had a vehicle and it broke down. Raymond was around in a couple of those times. One of the times he came and picked me and my wife up, and we went, and so we started becoming buddy, right? And so now Raymond's got a script of Roxy's, he's got 30s, 15s, Xannies, all that kind of shit, right? Diazepam, whatever the other one, Xannies and the Klonopin. And so, like I said, Raymond was hip to the cause. He knew how to get all that shit, and had, I never was that good at it. I'd go out and, have to pay somebody, but Raymond was always on his game. we got to be more and more friends. The more and more I become addicted to Roxy's, the more and more we would hang out. It started out like it usually does for most, I guess. First, me and my wife go and stay the weekend with Raymond. And I snort 15s. I help him tint his windows one night. We're out fucking with his car at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we had this all-out binge, right? So now I've been doing Percocets or Roxy's all weekend, and he takes me and my wife back to a hotel. And I get back and I'm like damn near begging him, and so he sells us a Norco to like come down. In just 2 days of doing Roxy's all day, I had gotten addicted and sick, like, deathly ill kind of sick. So can't go to work kind of sick. So then, like I said, I was without a vehicle, so I couldn't come get to him, and he wasn't hip to come to me much. And so then I get a vehicle, and then of course Addict does what he's gonna do, and I'm seeing Raymond all the time. I'm getting all of Raymond's pills. Now he's having to do this. He's only letting me get so many, and of course, I need more and more and more. And, so he can't. And sometimes, and, can only do this or that. But we were cool to the cause together. Like I said, I didn't have no one else really kicking at the time. And so me and him and my wife and his wife are hanging out every weekend, right? We're going to their pool, cooking out, snorting Roxy's and kicking it. He's got his little dogs. These literally bitty dogs, playing with him, fucking with him. And one of these times I take Zach, and Zach stays the night with him. And so like I said, Raymond was hip to the cause. He was down for all of that. Had been a junkie himself, and smoked crack like it was going out of style. He had this girlfriend, Karen. He wasn't no like guy in any kind of shape, but he had his girlfriend Karen. She was quite large, and so they fought a lot. We're always fucking fighting, but fighting on another level. This is why Raymond had gone to jail in the first place, is fighting with his wife, right? So they were fighting all the time and shit, and she's working, holding down 24/7 job, and he's not, and so she's making good money, whatever. She's got a college degree. After 10 years of this, it finally winds up to they split up, right? We were with them for many, many years while they bitched, fight, and argued, and Raymond was a resourceful dude. Raymond had known about this church right up the street from my parents' house that were fixing people's teeth. So they fixed our teeth, and I would have never known about it if it wasn't for Raymond. So we would go to church with Raymond. Sometimes Raymond would hold pills over my head, come to church, yada, yada, yada. So after so long, he's another one of these guys, got 3-4 different hookups for everything and anything. Crack, more pills, because he does him like a madman, and he does like all the other people that I know that get Roxy's. My boy DZ did the same thing for years. They get their script, they sell it all off, and they get themselves in this fucked up mind frame. I know a lot of people it happens to. Manny's the same. All these, my boy DZ, Raymond, and Manny, all the same. They'll get their pills and sell them all right off the rip. Literally be out the next day. And that's just insanity and stupidity if you're an addict also. All of them would do that shit. There'd be times Raymond would run the fuck out, and it had like mad, insane pills a day or two before. Remember, he was always time doing dumb shit. Like I said, he smoked crack like a rich man. Just stupid shit. His wife made a lot of money. He had it cush. One weekend, my wife let me spend the night with him, and we sat. And his wife was going out of town, so it was just me and Raymond at his house, and we smoked crack all night. He had like 3 drug dealers on speed dial. He had 3 different crack dealers come over in the time that I was there, from my wife dropping me off at Saturday to Sunday night. My wife's picking me up. He's had 3 different dealers over there. One of them, he gave me a suit. No exaggeration, no bullshit. Hands me a suit and tells me that I gotta tell one of these drug dealers that he's gonna tell them that I'm a mafioso guy, and he thought I played the part. So he literally played this skit to this drug dealer that he couldn't pay him, obviously, and so he's giving his story. He's pointing at me and saying like I'm big shit, and don't worry about your money. Big money, big G money, Mafia Mike's in the house. So he played that on this dude, and obviously, somebody that puts that kind of shit together, they don't have the money to pay him. But he was the type of dude that did and would. He may not do it right then and there, but he'd sell, borrow, pawn, trade, sell his soul, you name it. He would do it, and he could produce. He always had it going on. He had this nice badass truck, right? He had this newer Chevy, and he dropped it. He dropped the system in it, and there was another one of these deals where he was holding pills out on a stick, and I was there to indulge with him, and so he liked to show out and show off in front of me, type shit, so I let him do that, and it was all good. And he dropped the system in this parking lot right in the dead middle of like Marietta, like a block or 2 from the police station. He's bumping it insane loud. Y'all all know, you guys know that one guy that's like spent his whole life in his stereo system in his truck. Well, that was Raymond. He would pay me to wash his windows and clean. We would clean his truck out, every weekend type shit. And so Raymond was a goofball, but he was fun, and he was fun to be around. Like I said, he lived in places that had pools, in his neighborhood. We could go to the pool and barbecue. I don't ever live in no shit like that. My neighborhood don't have a pool. So Raymond had all kind of different people, right? So we had this friend T, okay? And T was a couple of years younger than us, and T was this 6-foot black guy, right? Cool as fuck, thugged out to the gills, always carrying a piece, all that kind of shit. Been to prison. He's got a gold grill, big ass black guy. He's got a white girlfriend, and so he all the time be cheating on his girl. But so his buddy T went to the doctor himself. So T had scripts, right? So T all the time was selling his Roxys. And in those days, that was the same time I had just gotten with, I don't know who I met first or what, and at what point in that. But anyways, long story short, I got pills from both Larry, the 7-year-old drug dealer black man, and T, the 25, 30-year-old black guy. Larry would get Roxy's. T would tell me he would sometimes need 30, 60, 50, and I could get them for him. Rare, but there was a time or two I hooked him up. And there was vice versa. My man Larry was needing them, and so I was taking his scripts. I was getting T's scripts. Larry was buying them. right straight out, whatever he had, all the way up. Larry was kind of a baller like that. He lived in this house, and in the house he lived with his mama, 7-year-old black guy, lives with his mama and a couple relatives, and the house is paid for. This man's got, several different cars. He's got an array of suits. He wears a suit to church. He had a Mercedes SUV at the time. He was a wheeler and dealer, had all kind of jewelry, had everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. I could never go sick. In the 5 years or so I fucked with him, I went sick one time. One time in 5 years, he wouldn't let me come over. It was the snowstorm when the snowstorm shut cars down here, and cars were abandoned on the highway all through town. It was at that time his family got stuck and came over his house. He told me for 2 days, I couldn't come over. The worst dopes if you could imagine. After that, we started fucking with heroin. So T all the time and Larry all the time, back and forth, getting both each other's pills. And it started to get crazy and spooky. And right before I stopped fucking with him, I had got myself up to so bad that I went and got 50 15s from his girl, from T's girl. I went and got 50 15s one day, and $450, and I owed that. So I went and bought my boy $450 worth of pills, and owed it, and had to take it to Larry and say, here, you're paid up for the week. That actually, all the times I give him $500, $400, constantly. My habit was getting worse and worse. Like I said, I'd have to work on the weekends, and like I said, it just got worse and worse. But starting out, like I said, I owed him $450, and that shit about killed me, about made me sick, and I was dope sick. I had to go meet his girl off Windy Hill Road, and I could barely get, and I had to work I worked that morning, and I worked sick, and this is when my boy David was starting to find out when it started to fuck me up at work. That's when my boy David pulled out. So I was getting pills for and from T and Larry all the time, right? There was a guy in the hotel that I was fucking with, this tree climber that I met, and he was a drug addict, and so I had hooked him up and was getting rich off this guy, right? And then I fucked myself. I fucked up. He needs some help at work. He's got this big job right down the street from the hotel from us, and he tells me he needs help, desperate help, paying good money. And my dumb ass told T about it, knew that he was looking for some work, and put them together, and then they went behind my back, and buddy just started straight fucking with T and cut me out, and I did it to myself. I'm passing the place right now where I was saying that in Marietta, and Raymond was getting the stereo hooked up. It's literally right here. We're right in downtown Marietta. I think that's it. Computers and TVs. They're behind this place. We're literally a mile from the police station, courthouse, all that shit. So those were crazy ass days. So I used to fuck with T all the time. And he lives where I live now, exactly. Another one of these crazy coincidences. I drive right by as far as fuck. I live in Powder Springs, but I was living in Roswell, so it was far as fuck to go meet him. And I was meeting him and Raymond and Larry, and all the time transporting and carrying weight as far as pills were concerned. Because every time I would go to hook up, I was not only hooking myself up, I had to hook other people up. I had to be able to afford to keep doing them. I not only had to work like a madman, I had to sling too. I was selling pills to to people in the hotel where I lived at, selling pills to dudes at work now, and I was just snorting heroin and snorting Roxy's during this time, right? And then I started, and that's when I started shooting up. Right then and there, and right in that time frame is when I started shooting up. It was right then. I remember when I took that $450 worth of pills to him on a Friday. By the time I got to his house, I had to work that morning. Luckily, it was raining. We were doing outside work, so we cut out early, thank God. So it was, early afternoon. I'm getting the pills, but I'm in my bed, sick, puking, literally that dope sick. And so when I get the Roxy's, I don't own any. Not only do I not own any of the Roxy's, they're not mine, but I can't even take any of the Roxy's. This is only a scratch my back till I scratch your back. So when I bring Larry the bag of Roxy's, now all of a sudden he's got some heroin. He's all the time waiting on the lady to get there. A couple of times a week, he'll get a whop and I'll be able to get it. And then he'll get down, to where he knows he's got to wait. It'll be a minute or day or so. So he's always got heroin, but there comes a point when he'll lie to me and say he don't have no more. See what I'm saying? So this was one of those times, and he's telling me he's got to wait. His girl's is coming through, and she's late coming through, and he only gets to get dope from this girl one more time, right? This black girl's going to, where the fuck am I doing? What was I saying? This black girl is coming from the Bluffs. She's got to go to the Bluffs, and whatever she's doing, she's meeting Larry, and he's getting a couple of G's worth, and there's a rich lady in Alpharetta, which is literally right up the street. So several times, times a week, they'll meet both. She'll come down, she'll go to the Bluffs, get a couple of G's, whatever, boy, and come down here. She's late this day. She doesn't show. So this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, right? I'm dope sick as hell. I'm shooting up now. And I tell, I'm in his driveway, and I'm puking I'm dry heaving on myself, right? And so then when I bring him the Roxy's, 2:30, all of a sudden he had some all of a sudden. So he gave me enough to get well. So on the regular, I go to his house and hook up, and he tells me, leave. You don't be sitting in his driveway and type shit. You can come in and hang out sometimes, but mama's in there, so you really need to get your shit and go. But, and keep in mind, like I said, this is the same person that we know the police is watching, right? This is like pretty much a known fact. Like I said, it got so bad they got pulled over twice leaving his house. It's like the guarantee that the police knew what was going on type shit, right? So, I get well, and I'm in his driveway, and the girl's sister comes now. Okay, the girl's sister comes. Somehow, some way, the girl's, she's not around. Whatever. This girl don't even tell him this. Larry finds this out later on, that the police was watching her, got her, busted her, set her up, or let her back out to rat on to take someone else down, and did that, whatever. So she was able to get back out and hook her sister up to go meet Larry. That's some crazy shit, ain't it? So she got busted, went in the jail, obviously asking her 120 questions, and basically, tell her, bring us some people, basically, is what it come down to. Like I said, she went to jail and bonded out and got out mysteriously, and now, and the sister's doing the dope running now. Like I said, Larry found out from somebody else that, she rolled over. She snitched on people. She took a bunch of people down. He knew other people in the streets. There's only so many people, and when you're talking about especially older black people, I'm not being racist or none of that kind of shit, but y'all hear what I'm saying. Even a really popular, or even a white guy that was all about going to church and hanging out at the Waffle House and the IHOP, and you see what I'm saying? And makes it a point to be everybody's friend. He was that guy. So those were insane fucking days. So he's dealing with this chick now and finds out that her that she's she's flipped on people, and so he finds this out. That plug goes off, and then that's right then and there. That lasted like a good year. I probably dealt with him solid for about 2 years. The first years was all Roxy's, right? Was all Roxy's, and then going into the second year, I'm now up to 330s a day. I have to do 330s at one time, and 330s don't do shit for me anymore. And so that's when he tells me, try a little boy, $20 worth of boy will do what $500 worth of pills can't do. So I went from $75 a day habit down to a $20 a day habit, and that's how it starts for most people. Roxy's are too expensive. People are $25 a piece. Nobody can afford that shit for too long. That's why people get them themselves, and it's getting harder and harder. And I watched it with several people. Like I said, just like any other drug addict, I just happened to look for other drug addicts, and by finding all the other drug addicts, I get their resources and find out where they're coming from. Try to cut out the middleman. I've done that on several people. And what was one of the reasons that I believe my boy DZ called fucking defects on me. That's some fucking swank ass baby bullshit, ain't it? Call defects on somebody. That's beyond hateful. He called defects and he called the law. I'm about positive it was either him or my neighbor, and I'm more leaning towards the both of them, truthfully. I guess that's a good one for today. What do you people think? Like, comment, share. Tell your brother about it. Big shit's coming. Stay ADD. Or don't. Love you guys.